I went around these ruins, looting all the chests, and got a fishing rod, some wheat, coal, and some other stuff as well. And since I didn't want to gather any more dirt today, I decided that I was going to turn that skeleton spawner that I saw the other day into a mob grinder. From this, I would be able to get XP and bones, which are both pretty important items. Eventually, though, my pickaxe broke. Uh-oh. So I had to get another one. And then I finally finished off the skeleton spawner grinder thingo. Yes, boom, next day. I went back to collecting more dirt and extending out that island platform. And I finally finished that off by day 7. And since I now had a pretty large island platform, I could actually start working on a house. However, for that, I would need to get a whole lot more materials, since this wasn't going to be any pathetic small house. So for this day, I went around gathering materials, also using the skeleton grinder as well to gather bones for bone meal, to grow trees, and get even more wood. And now it's time to build up the house, which definitely does end up taking a little bit of time to complete. However, in the end, I think it looks quite nice, which you're going to end up seeing very soon. I started building the front of the house, and from what you can gather during these building clips, I was going to be using a mix between spruce wood, birch wood, stone bricks, and cobblestone to build up this house, which is convenient for me because I have easy access to all those materials. The front of this house is definitely the most time-consuming part, as there are so many smaller details that are kind of hard to build in survival mode. But I continued, finishing that into day 10, which I could then move on to building up the other walls, which unfortunately right now, I couldn't actually strip the logs since my axe broke. On this day as well, I went ahead and added some white stained panes onto the walls for windows, and after using a bunch of stone bricks on the roof, I started to realize that I was going to need quite a lot more stone if I wanted to finish this house off anytime soon. But that's for later me to deal with, because right now, my focus was on finishing the back wall. Though I couldn't actually fully complete this since I ran out of materials, so I had to go around collecting even more wood. This is a pretty common reoccurring theme that is displayed throughout this building section. I would start building and then I would run out of materials, so I would have to go and collect even more. In this case, today, I needed spruce wood, and I was going to need this so I could build up the floor inside the house. Oh yeah, I also needed to collect some stone as well, because your boy needed to finish this roof off. The floor was getting wet, it was raining through the roof that was non-existent right now. And well, whilst I waited for all the stone to cook up, I would use some of it to go ahead and start adding more blocks to the roof. I also added random details like a staircase inside the house, and finally, I finished off the house roof today. It was also during this time, I decided to move that wheat farm that I currently had onto the side of the house, as I thought this would be a cool way to add more details to the area. And now, it was time to mostly finish off the house. And I was missing one feature, but first, I needed more stone to complete this. I was going to be building up a chimney on the side of this house. That's all. It was nothing too crazy, but I think it would definitely make the outside look a whole lot better. I then added some leaves to the outside of the house, and that pretty much completes this house build. This is how it turned out. I think it looks pretty good. And if you think that building theme was over, then you'd be heavily mistaken, because I was going to be going straight into building up some animal farms. I was going to build a total of 3 animal farms, and each one took me about 1 day to complete, so this was going to be another few more days worth of building. I also don't really know what style I was going for here. I was kind of just in a super flat creative world building up random stuff, and eventually came up with this design. It's good enough, and I think it definitely makes the island look a whole lot better. Now, before I actually did anything else, I wanted to add something else to my main house, and this was going to be a second floor. To do this, I was going to need to bone meal some spruce trees for wood, and then I would use all the wood that I got from the trees to make the upstairs floor in my house. Anyways, I now want diamond armor, so I started digging down a staircase, and eventually I stumbled across